Hi everyone, I'm back with another video, and in today's video I'm going to review this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I'm carrying two copies because these two copies belong to me. All right, so this is the first one which I read, and then I gave this book to somebody else, and but I do carry this book because this is my favorite copy. Okay, and anyway, let me talk about the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I'm going to review this book, and I can't tell you anything new about this book because a lot of people have done book reviews on this book on YouTube, and they have done a very good job. I'm simply going to tell you my experience, how I have read this book and how this book has helped me. I would like to start with the most important thing when you are going to read this book. When you are going to read this book, few things that you need to remember. Things that will help you if you want to get the most out of this book. If you want to get the most out of this book, you have to have a deep desire, and not deep desire, but kind of the willingness that you want to improve your communication. You want to learn the ability to deal with people. Now a lot of us don't know how to deal with people, and for that reason we make a lot of mistakes, right? uh, but this book will teach you with step by step process. There are some stories have been written in this book by Dale Carnegie, and through those stories you can learn how to fix all your problems related to dealing with people. So this book basically talks about the common mistakes that we make while dealing with people. So there are I can simply show you the suggestions that the author has given. These are the suggestions that if you want to get the most out of this book, then there are 13 suggestions. Sorry, there are 9 suggestions that have been given by the author. So the first suggestion is that you have to have a deep driving desire to learn, uh, and if you want to increase your ability to deal with people. And the second thing that you need to remember before start reading this book is that you have to read the chapters rapidly, and if you find a chapter interesting, then you can read that chapter. Okay, and I just want to add some more points to this point. The previous point is that each chapter has to be read twice if you want to get the most out of the book. Okay, or out of the chapter, you have to read each chapter twice, because these chapters are pretty complicated when you are reading it for the first time. When I read this book for the first time, I did not understand anything. When I read this book, I was 19, and I could not understand anything what the author was talking about. But when I read this book for the second time, I understood that okay, these are the things that we make mistake while dealing with people. And another thing that you could do when you are reading this book, and this is like, I'm not telling you all the 9 suggestions, I'm simply telling you the most highlighted suggestions that I have found in this book. So another suggestion which literally fascinated me, author is saying that after reading it thoroughly, you have to spend a few hours reviewing it every month. Keep it on your desk in front of you every day. Glance through it often. It means that you can't simply put this book aside after reading once. You have to review this book after reading it. You have to contemplate on some important sections that you consider them very useful. And the last but not the least, the point that I would like to share with you, it is that you will find, the most important thing that you need to understand, there are some blank pages at the end of the book. These blank pages are meant to be filled with your own experience and the kind of triumphs that author talks about. Whatever the things that there are few blank pages are given at the end of this book. So if you have found any interesting thing in the book and that you want to write in your words, then don't hesitate, just write them down and then review the book twice, thrice, as many times as you want. So let me now start with the chapter 1, and the chapter 1 is, if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. So this is how the chapter 1 looks, guys, and the chapter 1 starts with a criminal. Now in 1931, on May 7th, New York cops arrested Crowley, who was also known as Two Gun Crowley. Now you want to know who is this Crowley, right? The answer is, Crowley was a criminal and he was one of the deadliest criminals. He was a killer and a gunman. Crowley was a cop killer. Think about it. He used to kill the police. Okay. Now, one day Crowley was there in his girlfriend's apartment, and the New York police came to know about that, and they raided in that apartment. And Crowley was so dangerous, so there were 150 police outside of his girlfriend's apartment, and they were firing into Crowley's into that apartment. Okay, and then Crowley wrote a letter, and in that letter Crowley said that under my coat is a very heart, but a kind one that would do nobody any harm. It clearly means that Crowley was basically saying that he was a very kind person. Okay, his heart was tired, and he never wants to do anything harm to anybody, Think about it. It clearly means Crowley was not blaming himself for what he was doing and what he had already done. Think about it. So this Crowley basically is the example where you can understand the author is trying to teach us a lesson through this story, that even the prisoners, those who are right now behind the bars in the prisons, they don't blame themselves for anything, right? And think about it, like that's the people's basic nature, or you can say that people never blame themselves for anything. If I do a mistake, I'm not going to blame myself for whatever I do wrong, right? So that's our basic nature. And if anybody like points their finger at me and say, hey, you have made this and you have done this and all this, so I'm simply going to defend myself. And I'm going to say, no, you are wrong, I'm not wrong. So this book basically talks about the things that you need to handle tactfully. Okay, 99 times out of 100 people don't criticize themselves for anything, no matter how wrong it may be. This is really surprising, that we never criticize ourselves for anything, no matter how wrong we are. So if anybody points their finger at us, then we sort of defend ourselves like Crowley. We become that criminal, and we say, hey, I'm not wrong, you are wrong, right? So in that situation, how do you handle this sort of things? When somebody has done a mistake and you want to teach him a lesson, but if you go straight to that person, then and tell him that, hey, you have made this mistake, now just learn this lesson, then that person is not going to learn that lesson. So you need to learn some principles, some the principles that are there in the first chapter of this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. There is another section I would like to share with you. Criticism is futile because it puts a person on the defensive and usually makes him strive to justify himself. Criticism is dangerous because it wounds a person's precious pride, hurts his sense of importance, and arouses resentment. And another section which concludes the entire chapter, author is saying that criticisms are like homing pigeons. They always return home. Let's realize that the person we are going to correct and condemn will probably justify himself or herself and criticize or condemn us in return. So if you are going to correct anybody, then that, correct anybody directly, then that person is going to defend himself or herself and will, criticize you in return or condemn you in return. So if you want to learn how to deal with this kind of situations, then you have to read this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And at the end of the first chapter from part 1, there are 4 parts in this book. Yes, there are 4 parts in this book, and each part has a few chapters, and I will be reviewing all the chapters on my channel. The thing I was saying, at the end of the first chapter you will get a beautiful story between a father and a boy, and the name of the story is Father Forgets. Father Forgets. So you have to read the last story which the author has given at the end of the first chapter. This is amazing. And author, the first principle from the first chapter of this book is: don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. That's the principle number 1 of the first chapter from How to Win Friends and Influence People. So guys, that's all about today's book review. The first chapter I have reviewed today. If you want to gather honey, don't keep over the beehive. And I hope you liked this video. If you like this video, do subscribe to my channel, because a lot of book reviews are coming on your way. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel. The second chapter that I'm going to review, and I'm going to upload this video soon. The second chapter is very interesting. The big secret of dealing with people. I'm getting back soon, and please do subscribe to my channel. And I hope that you have had a great time on my channel. So thank you so much.